Oh, what's going on, everybody? I've got another update here on the crypto market here. We've just had NFP this morning, and we just had the weekly close on the stock market. We're heading into the weekend, so I thought I'd come at you with a little update here on the crypto market. We still haven't had any major moves yet, but here we are with the total crypto market cap here. You can see we've just kind of been ranging in this area, not doing too much here, kind of awaiting the big move here. I do think that actually total market cap looks a little bit better than like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but that's ironically because altcoins, others, are holding up better than both Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is further validating my thesis that alt season's still coming. But ultimately, I am expecting lower prices moving in here. So that is interesting to see. One thing that's interesting, it's not just others, like it's in the stock market too. If we look at the stock market today, IWM, so the Russell 2000, is like kind of the equivalent of others. It's small caps. It was up today, 50% or a half a percent. Meanwhile, S&P 500 was down, Dow Jones US 30 was down, and the Nasdaq all down today. But yet small caps are doing well. So I think that's a sign of things to come because, as I've mentioned before, RTY, this is when RTY is the futures ticker for the Russell 2000. But if this thing breaks to new all-time highs and starts running a little bit, that's when I would expect altcoins to also run. So it's interesting. We did yesterday with the close of the candle above this high that manipulated the low into the fair value gap, confirmed this as a daily order block right there. As you can see, we went in here, then tested that order block. So I mean, I wouldn't take a trade on a daily time frame, but if you were trading, that's where you would be, putting your stop. And then obviously, I mean, that's a shitty risk reward. I'd never take this trade, but on a lower time frame, you'd look for entry there. But that is exactly what I anticipated. It did respect this order block here and move to new highs. So I do anticipate that to continue going up. I do anticipate that this high will get taken and we will be at an all-time high with the Russell 2000. So, we'll see that. Dow Jones is interesting here. YM is the ticker for futures for Dow Jones because, again, we did break into new all-time highs after with this big impulsive move. We set a high, and then you can see even with NFP news, we come up, but we leave the high before trading lower. So this is another thing I expect the Dow Jones to break out and start going higher again as well. This isn't going to be the top of the Dow Jones. So that's there. If we go to USDT, this is interesting because on the daily chart, it does look like we've taken out that high, which would, liquidate the short before going lower, which would actually show me that this is moving lower. However, this is a weird one on different time frames, like the 4-hour, for example. The 4-hour, it didn't liquidate the high, and on lower time frames, it didn't liquidate the high. So even on the daily, if we did, it's so minor here that now I'm starting to expect, especially after, again, so minor, but right after this was liquidated there just by a touch. Turtle soup in the ICT world, that was liquidated. So I expect this high will be getting targeted here, and it's another reason why I have this area of interest here, which may or may not hold, but that's what I'll be monitoring it to look for a bounce to go lower there. So we'll see when that happens. Same thing, Bitcoin here. This is an interesting one to me. So Bitcoin as well, like it looks like it's kind of bullish here, because it's like, well, we did liquidate these lows and push up. But one thing to keep in mind, didn't liquidate that low. So that's it. When it has a perfect double bottom, as you like to call it, or equal lows like that, that shows me that. And then when you get it's like a fake out here, it goes up. This shows me that I mean, it's not a for sure thing, but I think it's going to continue to come down, liquidate this low, maybe even liquidate that low, and then go into this area and start going back up. It's hard to know exactly what's going to happen, but I like that setup personally. Looking at that, it makes sense to me that that's something that would happen. If that's the case, Ethereum is an interesting one too, because this high here has not been swept, which is a good sign here. Same as the Dow Jones. It's like it's going to come back for this, but the fact that this candle didn't take out the high, but it took out the previous day and then just wicked down, this shows me that like this could go lower here, but then it's going to come back for the liquidity, which I don't anticipate it just doing that and selling off. I would anticipate it coming back to all-time highs for the reason that Ethereum Bitcoin chart, so, when this goes up, Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. That's put in a high. And first of all, we're still well within this daily fair value gap. But also, this is just a slow, grinding, corrective move. Like if the top for everything was in, I would expect to see a more impulsive move. Something like this, something like you want fair value gaps to be created to the downside. And at least on the daily, we haven't had any of those because they all get mitigated on the daily. So this is still looking okay. Like I would anticipate this get taken out at least and then go higher. But I mean, we also could, take out a low here. We could just take out one of these. We could take that out there. This is an untapped area that it could bounce from. So I mean, we'll just monitor that price when it comes. But this does not look for Ethereum and altcoins like the top is in by any means here. One area I will be interested to look at personally is let's see, I'm gonna go down into the 1 hour. I'm not calling this as anything here because like if this works out, it's pretty hard to call a zone like this, but this was an area that's been left open that I find very interesting, if I'm being honest here, is this fair value gap here on the 5 minute from this big impulsive move that made the new all-time high, because let's go on to a bigger time frame here. This has a lot of equal highs or relative equal highs resting above it. So let's go back to daily chart. This is the zone I'm talking about. This is current price. So I'm very interested because on the daily you can see we have wicks on the daily. This is like a sell side liquidity target for me where we could have a bounce here. We could obviously take out these lows and go lower as well, which that I'm not going to say that's not a possibility. If that does, we're still fine in the general scheme of things because then we'll just be going into this weekly fair value gap as well, that this is a weekly order block right there, because this down candle liquidated that low with that move right into this fair value gap. So that when we closed above here that validates this as an order block. So there is a very high likelihood that if we get down to this level that we could bounce. Of course, if we go into the daily just to go down, what's right on the order block? This fair value gap. So again, I'm not saying it's going to come down to this level, but that if it goes down to this level, that's an area that I would really like to see a bounce from. Have them step in and defend that. Right, so that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. As I mentioned, others is holding up better, which is interesting because this is a weekly time frame where you could easily see, even though it would seem bearish on the daily chart because it's like you're putting in a low, a higher high, then a lower, all that crap, and then we'd be making a new lower low. On the weekly, it would still just be lower high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So, but I don't necessarily think it has to come down that whole way because Bitcoin total and Ethereum would all be dropping a lower percentage. For us to get down there is 15% drop. On others, it's possible, but it doesn't need to be the case. This could just, this low did liquidate these equal lows that I was referring to in the last video there. That did liquidate it and then pushed higher. But this isn't fully balanced yet. We could get to the end of this fair value gap here. It doesn't have to get down there. Like I said, it could just, from here, just grind its way there, start moving up like that. Like it could be anywhere in this whole area. This is a pretty big demand zone here. So we will see how that goes. The stock market is looking good though. Like I said, that's what further validates my proof here. Another thing that's interesting, and this is a bold statement to make for sure, but I am wondering if gold has topped right there. So this looks kind of like a short squeeze to me, to, and then it's kind of trapped. So if we pull up the RSI on gold, you can see that technically this level here has made a lower low on the RSI and a higher high here, right? And it's sold off fairly aggressively after this on the RSI, right? If we go into the 4 hour, again, we have had the same, this was this on the day, this is showing on the daily that to there, so we can get rid of that if we want. The 4 hour here, we spiked up and taken the high with this candle. So I mean, we could theoretically go up again, but the fact that this high was put in, this candle went above, swept it, and then closed within the range, and then this candle again swept the high of that candle and closed within the range, and it closed bearish. It's pretty early, this is not confirmed, but if this high, this candle doesn't hold here and we start closing below there, especially if we retest the level and then continue lower, that would validate this as an order block, a bearish order block. And then gold could be heading down for a while there. I'm not calling this, but this is an interesting part here. Monthly fair value gap here at 2200 here. It's pretty crazy to think that that's possible, but could have something in there as well as a small little fair value gap. But I do think, combined with the fact that just everyone's flocking to gold, it seems very toppish. Everyone thinks that it's invincible and nothing can happen to gold. It's only going to go up over time, etc., etc., etc. This is a monthly time frame, so look at the candles. It's like how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 months in the last since March 2024 that we've had bearish candles, and the bearish candles are pretty small. Like this looks like a euphoric rally. Whether or not it makes it all the way up there, down here, or just pulls back slightly, that remains to be seen. But if this also rejects from here and goes lower, that will also be good for altcoins. So that's the only reason I bring up gold for this video. So time will tell. I'm not going to pay too much attention to the price action over the weekend here, because it never, the weekend price action is low volume. It's never really the true move, right? So we're gonna cross that bridge when it comes. Seems to be my favorite saying these days. But it's a waiting game for right now. But those are the levels I'm looking at to look at. As I mentioned before, especially if we do come down here, I kind of do think the top is either in for Bitcoin, or then that we're going to at the strongest for Bitcoin, if we do make a new all-time high, it's going to be it's right there and then drop. So waiting game. We'll see exactly what happens, but let me know if you like the video. Please like the video. Leave any questions in the comments for me, and I will get back to them. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great weekend.